Hotep, Black Power, brother Shaka saying Cold for Head, Street Law Soldiers. And what I wanted to discuss today is, you know, um, this Black History Month shit. You know, how, these motherfuckers will take our history and put it into a 28-day, the shortest month of the year, and which supposed to describe our history, which is bullshit. I'm gonna break something down to you today. Give me a second. Okay, so our history started off as Black History Day at first. A lot of our young people don't know that. Then it went to Black History Week, which was created actually by the great ancestor Carter G. Woodson. Then it went to Black History Month, which is the shortest month out of the year. Now, how can we even have a period of documented history and a measured amount of history in terms of days, months, or years when we invented every motherfucking thing? The only thing that the white man invented was fucking havoc and savagery. Even the equipment that we're using right now, all this was invented by us. And a lot of our people don't know that. The cell phone, the computer, the internet, any type of clothing that you may wear, traffic lights, gas masks, straightening combs, hair extensions, cookie cutters, ovens, refrigerators, spark plugs, and the list goes on and on. Even down to the wrench that is used to unscrew bolts, which was invented by the great boxing legend Jack Johnson. But the crackers, in order to humiliate the whole situation, they named it the monkey wrench, based after Jack Johnson. But however, we invented the wrench too. All those tools and equipment, the dry cleaning machine, the first automobile, the Patterson Car Company. When Henry Ford went to George Washington Carver to get instructions on how to successfully build and operate a fucking transmission. But our people don't know that. And it's called, get George G. and James' book. It's called Stolen Legacy. World's Great Men of Color. Brother J. Rogers. Now Valley Contribution to Civilization. Dr. Tony Browder. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other books written by our renowned ancestral scholars who did the intense, in-depth, fearless, relentless research into exposing the genius inventions of our people. So, and another thing we need to work on beginning to bond together as a union and quit the cooning has reached epidemic levels now. I'll give you an example. At the All-Star Slave basketball game yesterday, they were shooting buck baskets. They used the monkey niggas. They used the slaves to shoot these baskets. And every time a basket was made, I think it was $10,000 per basket. So they used all the slaves to raise the money. But then here comes Big King Kong, the King Kong slave, the big field ape Shaq. He comes out there holding a little white baby up to the fucking basket, so the little white boy can the little white boy can make the basket. And then they showed just all different races of people. And the only time they showed us is when we were actually dribbling the ball like goddamn monkeys in a zoo, shooting the ball. And how these crackers were walking around, these billionaires were walking around with their children and their grandchildren, marveling, and enamoring themselves in the wealth and the enormous wealth that the slaves had provided for them. This shit is stomach curling if you're clear about some shit. But if you sleep and you into sensationalism and you into I want to be like Mikeism and all that bullshit, where material things matter to you more than anything, then you were fascinated at that bullshit yesterday. It really wasn't nothing but a plantation cookout. You had all the hardest working slaves, the biggest, the strongest bucks off each plantation, meaning off each team, off each plantation, and they come together and they do all these tricks like animals, bounce the ball off their nose like fucking seals and hit the backboard and do somersaults and all this, and while the crackers sit back in amazement, clapping, being entertained by the spectacle that these niggas make of themselves once a year. This goddamn all-star slave game, and then they had all the local celebrities, Anthony Anderson, who looks sick, like he's he just looks sick, and he looks like he's been his asshole has been plowed on. Shaq, he's swollen, has a swollen, toxic look, with this big ass plaid sport coat, sport jacket on, looks like a goddamn curtain, all the local slaves, all the local so-called entertainers, and the jokesters, and the buffooners, and the fiddlers, that stand in front of the plantation in the evening and dance and spin on their backs and heads and entertain the slave master, for just some for some scraps, some extra bacon and shit like that, but the rebellious, strong slaves, the real bucks, the rebellious, they're standing up, that's all about insurrection and freeing their people. Those are the ones that they make sure they keep in prison, they keep them morally, financially, economically, and spiritually bankrupt at any cost, and they use people that look like us to oppress us. For example, like I told y'all about the gatekeepers, the gargoyles. The gatekeepers are the ones who stand in front of Master's house, in front of his gate, and make sure that nobody that looks like him even approaches the gate and attempts to get what's theirs. And and the gargoyles, his job is to scare and put fear and intimidation into his brothers and sisters, and keep them at a subordinate level. And one of the ways that they rock us to sleep is through religion. Once a week for an hour, you pay $20 to go get an hour's worth of feel-good information, which wears off. By the time you get back home, the shit done wore off. While you running through the traffic lights, you on hallelujah time. Praise the Lord time and all this shit. But then by the time you get back home, you back in nigga mode. And I don't know what it's gonna take for us to snap out of this spiritual hypnosis, but it's coming, and it needs to come sooner than later. The way our children, our babies, have been indoctrinated, to search for the material wealth. Materialism and wealth is the new God in the minds and hearts of our youth, and in most of our adults, because the adults are the ones that implement that mindset into our babies. You know, you ain't nothing if you don't have on a Helly Hansen or North Face coat, or you don't have any Jordans or LeBrons on. You ain't shit. You bullshitting, and you a dirty ass bum nigga. That's the mindset. You don't have an iPhone. You don't have an iPad. You some shit. You know, and then when you get this shit, you know, your parents go out and break their fucking necks, you know, and work till their damn backs are split to provide that. You know, most of you children are fucking ungrateful because you haven't been taught any type of value system. So the shit don't mean nothing to you once you get tired of it. You just throw it to the side. Now you want something else. You know, and just think about, okay, if you get good grades, then I'll get you this. So you're really not learning for the purpose of learning. You're learning for the purpose just of acquiring toys. And life is not built. Life is not designed and based on those fucking principles. And then when you get upset when you find out that, you know, your baby is smoking weed and they're sexually active. You know, they done hook school, you know, and they got their legs gapped open, and another child is, you know, gyrating in them. And next thing you know, you are, you know, a grandmother, you know, at 31, you know, and your daughter's a mother, you know, in the 10th grade. You know, those type of situations, you know, that the black community is infested with, and it's based on the mindset, it's based on what we implement into our babies, you know, because a lot of times we dress our children up and we enam our children with these gifts, not to give to them for merit, based on a merit system, you give it to them so your friends can look at you in a different light, like you really hold it down more than the other parents. And those who are in that mindset, a lot of them don't have vehicles, a lot of them don't have steady employment, you know, a lot of them don't have their own homes. And when I say own homes, I'm not talking about, you know, a Section 8. That's not yours. That's not yours. You know, you're just being loaned that as long as you don't incorporate a black king, as long as you don't marry a black god, you know, and stay single, you know, and keep him away from the house, you know. And that's what that is. That's a compensation for denouncing your motherfucking black god, you know. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about homeowners, people that have land, people that have property, you know. And most of you people that are in Shoe City and Downtown Locker Room and Foot Locker and Models, you know, you don't have it like that to be spending $400 or $500 on a jacket and a pair of shoes. You know, when you 3 months behind and you're renting your fucking electric. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So, you know, I've always been trying to propose economic sanctions as well as creating our own trust fund that we contribute. The more we put in, the more that we'll have. Not the more that you're gonna get out of it, the more that we will have as a people. You know, and they can start with their neighborhoods, one neighborhood at a time. You start at one family at a time, one community at a time. You know, if you know, sacrifice one luxury and give up one of your luxuries for 5 years, you will see, you know, the fruits of that labor. You know, you will see the benefits from making that sacrifice. And it's a shame that you have to be, you know, persuaded to save your own motherfucking self. You have to be persuaded and talked into generating wealth, not only for you, but the future generations behind you that's to come. Because we don't think about that. We don't think about our grandchildren's college educations. We don't think about our great-grandchildren's establishing their own business, so they won't have to go through the line of poverty that's been handed down to us, three centuries ago. Because the average black family has within the last 3 or 4 generations were born in poverty. And that's based on you allow your body, these crackers, to parlay the wealth of your ancestors without taking any type of stance into retrieving your ancestors' wealth. The 40 acres and the mule and the $100. You totally ignore that. And then you listen to some house niggas, and what they do to the house niggas, they give them wealth. And then when they tell them, what you do, niggas, you go out there and tell the rest of them niggas they need to move on and move past slavery. Because you have made it. And let the niggas see the toys that we have given you. Well, actually, that we're loaning you, because the first time that you renege on your word or call yourself becoming conscious, we taking that shit back. So any wealth that you have acquired through sports, through entertainment, through movies, through acting, all that shit is basically a loan, because once you stand up for your people, they take that shit back. So, we have a lot of decision making to do, because right now the clock is running out. The clock is running out. The people in Chicago are dying. There's been no telethon to raise money to provide social services and vocational and social skills and social programs for these young brothers that are murdering each other, because what you want to do is see this shit happening, because that's part of population control. The more black youths that are murdered in this country, specifically Chicago, that's the less that these crackers will have to worry about in terms of the next generation. And what you do, you'll sit there and say, oh, it's a shame the way they killing each other in Chicago. But you ain't doing nothing about it. You haven't made any arrangements to try to make a statement or even go in Chicago, to see if you can talk to these young guards, to tell them to put the guns down, or at least stop pointing them towards your brother anyway. I work with the youth, so I've been doing this shit for years, and I know what the core issues of this violence erupts from: global racism and global white supremacy. That's what the whole root cause of this shit is, that we don't want to see. And then you got niggas that be on social media talking about they Republicans and don't talk about black power. If you black, what power are you supposed to be talking about? And that's where the confusion comes in at. Help me understand what power I'm supposed to be logged into. I'm not supposed to be logged into no white Jesus, no white Muhammad, no white Buddha, no white Confucius, no white Hinduism power. I'm supposed to be plugged into a black African power source. Because Africa is the cradle of civilization. Even though we were in every part of this planet before anybody else, Africa is the cradle of civilization. And just like, when you talk about Moor signs, even if we are Moors, that's our original name. At first it's a lot of channels and things we have to eliminate. Because a lot of y'all don't want to talk about going to war with this motherfucking cracker. You think you can read a case law out of a book and that's supposed to straighten shit up? Don't you think, man, our people over the generations and centuries have tried all this shit and it hasn't been effective? That the only thing that they haven't tried is going head up with this motherfucking cracker. And every time we do, we get our message across and we get liberation. Look what happened to Haiti when Toussaint Louverture and Boukman Dada and Ginjab Dessalines and the other hundreds and hundreds of brothers and sisters over there created the Haitian insurrection and revolution. What happened? They got their independence. And they made Napoleon sell all these motherfucking states here, to get so he could finance the motherfucking French army to fight the motherfucking brothers and sisters over there. So don't tell me it don't work. Hold on, brothers. Yeah, so we know what works. We just have to stop being afraid, to engage in battle with this motherfucker. That's all. We can beat him. It's a no-brainer in terms of whooping this motherfucker. We have a military. We have the Crips and Bloods and GDs and BGF and all sorts of other, unorganized, comatose military regimes that needs to be reprogrammed, and instructed on who the enemy is and how to successfully strategize, a victory over their oppressors and over their enemies. Because I'm tired of having to go out. Every time I go out my front door, I have to get slapped in the face with oppression every fucking morning. Brothers and sisters begging for change at the traffic lights and in front of the stores, and the helpless and hopeless, dispiriting mindset that they possess. And I want to touch on something else about that bum and that chain shit. Now, I don't wear no Jordans, never had none, don't ever want none, no LeBrons, none of that bullshit. I'm not paying $200 for no tennis shoes. That don't make sense to me. But if you out there bumming change and you got on a pair of LeBrons or some Jordans, don't ask me. I can't help you. I'm not. Well, I don't use the word can't. I don't like using that word. I'm not helping you. Get the receipt for them motherfucking shoes. It don't make sense. You got on $200 shoes and you in front of the goddamn liquor store bumming change. Asking somebody if they got change, they got on $20 motherfucking shoes. No. So, if your shit busted up and you really look like you in need of some motherfucking help, I'm more than willing to help you. But I'm not gonna help you, buy weed and all that type of shit. That's not the purpose of helping our brothers and sisters. To keep them, to put them more in a abyss, of drugs and alcohol. That has always been a crippling component in the black community. And I think it always will be a crippling component in the black community. Until we all can rise as a people. Because we kind of got past the crack epidemic. Because, at one time crack was wiping us out. I mean, it was just everywhere. But we kind of like beat that shit down. We kind of like got past that. Not all the way. You still got a lot of people that's, a lot of motherfuckers crackheads out here. But for the most part, it's been kind of contained to an extent. And I want the marijuana piece, the weed, the loud, and all that. Now, initially marijuana is a plant, is a herb, it's a medicine if used properly. But when it's been treated with certain chemicals, like fingernail polish removal, all the same chemicals that they put in crack cocaine, they put in on this marijuana. And that's why you see people that smoke marijuana, you can't tell a crackhead from a marijuana head most of the time because it has the same chemicals and it takes the same effect on most of the people that engage smoking those chemicals, where you call it loud pack and all that bullshit, you know. But now if you growing your own and you have untreated marijuana, you know, which you can use it for medicinal purposes, you know. And I know for a fact, I don't smoke, but I know for a fact that people that are hyperactive, people that have like sort of like chemical imbalances where they're more hyper, instead of taking Ritalin and all that bullshit, marijuana is excellent for that. Marijuana is excellent for glaucoma, you know, anything dealing with division, you know, anything dealing with cancer, to develop an appetite, so you're able to put you have your body will crave the nourishment that it needs to restore a healthy body once again. In other words, marijuana give you the munchies, so you'll be able to eat more, you know, when you dealing with certain ailments such as cancer and things of that nature, and then put weight on you and make you more healthier, you know. So that's my piece on that, you know. And you know, and my thing is always, you know, let's try to just be straight up. Let's try to be honest with ourselves, because you know, self-honesty is the key. Because we can tell each other anything, and based on respect, most of us we have to believe it based on face value, you know. But are you true to yourself? You know, we have entered a world of perverted thinking, you know, where people are you know, being curious into engaging in a lot of unnatural, perverted type shit. Whether it's your thinking, whether it's your behavior, you know, whether it comes out of your mouth, you know, just to acquire wealth, just to acquire personal satisfaction, personal pleasure, you know. And you'll find out, if you believe in the Creator, and the Creator is all in all, and the Creator and the ancestors, if the Creator is all in all, then all what we search for in terms of happiness lies in the Creator. And if we are created in the image and likeness of the Creator, then everything that we search for, even in terms of personal and physical pleasure, lies in that entity. You know, you don't have to go outside your element, you know, to search for any type of pleasure. You know, especially when, you know, somebody else may be hurt in the process. You know, I personally believe that, you know, that's wrong, because you have a lot of people out here that are so selfish, you know, and you know, just think about themselves. You know, they're full of themselves. They just want to fulfill themselves, and in the quest of that mission, they don't care who they hurt. I know, I've been in it, you know, and I'm not crying victim or none of that shit, because I don't believe in whining and all that bullshit. But I know how it is to put your eggs in one basket, and the other person doesn't, you know, you're thinking that all the eggs in one basket. You don't know that person, the other person, supposed to be your significant other, has a motherfucking basket of her own or his own stash somewhere, but will step all on your fucking eggs. So, you know, you won't have any eggs, and then they'll have the pleasure of enjoying their eggs that you don't even know about. You know, and we have a lot of people out here like that. But I'll tell you this, I've seen people that play those games get fucked around in the end. You know, And that's how it goes. That's just how it goes. I don't have no sympathy for you, you know, when the judgment day comes in terms of and I'm not talking no Bible and all that. I'm talking about in terms of karma. When it's your turn to motherfucking eat the shit, you know, you just gotta eat it. I don't have no compassion or none of that. Especially if you didn't have any for me. You know, when I was at a low, functioning on a low frequency, you know, and those are just some pointers and about karma to maybe, you know, cut some lights on in some of our minds, and some of you, you know, who always thinking about yourselves, that you're so fucking selfish, you know, but you want to be, you know, you want to be conscious, you want to be credited as being conscious, you want to be respected as being somebody that knows what time it is, and you don't know shit for real, you know. I know how it is, you know, because some of y'all hate all people that have consciousness, people that have worked and studied on, you know, our history and who we really are, the core essence of us, you know, and we've studied and been researchers and become scholars. Some of you motherfuckers, you know, you want the respect and credit of that, but you don't want to do any work. It takes a lot of work to become a scholar, to become a revolutionary, to become a warrior. You know, you just can't read no 1 or 2 books and then, you know, and that's it. It don't work like that. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of denying. You know, it takes a lot of rejection of things. You got, you know, sometimes it's a lonely walk being conscious and being a revolutionary and being clear. You know, because you gotta sacrifice and give up a lot of shit. Strip clubs, getting high, you know, hanging out, all of that shit, man. You know, being promiscuous, all that shit. You know, that shit doesn't have nothing to do with consciousness. And if you're engaging in that shit, you are not conscious. You know, so I'm gonna come back to y'all with some more information. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and you know, fall back for a minute, do a little bit of studying, and I'll see y'all in a minute. Black Power, peace.